I'm going to talk about Puffy. I said that I would talk about Puffy on this episode. And really, I want to talk about Puffy, how I got started at Bad Boy, and Puffy's relationship with Shyne at the time. Because when I started working at Bad Boy, I started at John Recording Studio. Told you about that, the situation with him, and what I had to go through to get the job. So I got the job, working. Everything is great. And throughout my story, I'll be referring back to that. But I worked there for probably about a year and a half. By the time I left there, I was a full-fledged skilled engineer who knew the SSL. I think we had a 4,000. Might have been 6,000. But I was ready for anything in music, and it was crazy because Giant Recording Studio was a studio for like, we did music and we did like jingles. There was a jingle company. So with the jingle company, they would come and create music for commercials and do all the studio work there. So we were able to do a lot of mic techniques, record live instruments and all of that, which translated to me being able to do live music. But Doug Pell, my mentor, he closed the business. Had other opportunities he wanted to explore. So around that time, I think that's when I went to Brooklyn. And then it was like I said, it wasn't the time for what me and the God Divine Element was doing at that time. Me and him are working on some music now. You're gonna be hearing it first of the year, but it was like I came back to Plainfield. Cheesehead came home, and so I moved from Brooklyn. Well, I wasn't really living in Brooklyn. I was like living in Brooklyn basically, but not officially. So I came back to Plainfield, worked out a situation where we had access to a house, and we started recording and producing and all of that, doing mixtape. There was a situation that arose through one of his baby mothers, you know what I mean? So it was like, I left that situation. I was like, you deal with that, I'm moving on. Ended up working at, put my resume out. Bad Boy got my resume. And probably a few other, I think Quad Studio, where Tupac got shot. I worked out there a couple times. But I went, Bad Boy called me. So they, called me for an interview. I had the interview. I was qualified. They asked me the questions. I answered the questions that I needed to question. So everything was going great. It was Sash, Sass. It was I think she was an Asian girl, like Chinese, or Philippines, something like that. Very attractive. Studio manager. And so after the interview, she was like, "Yo," she said, let me just tell you, like, you're working here, it's like, yo, niggas don't play. You know what I'm saying? So if you see something, hear something, yo, you don't go talking about it, because niggas will fuck you up. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna, I just gotta tell you that. You know what I mean? But other than that, it's just business as usual. So I understood that going into the game, into the business. You know what I mean? Like, this is something, this is something different, And so I got to working right away. I was working with one of the major projects was Shyne. Shyne had already had what's that big record? I forget the name of the big record, but it was with Barrington Levy. Anyway, so I'm working with him. It was a pleasure. He was actually my favorite artist to ever work with. You know what I mean? I was an assistant engineer on his the album he came out with. And I got credits on that album. And it was like, yo, the greatest assistant experience that I had. You know what I mean? Like, yo, like he was cool. You know what I'm saying? And he was like the kind of type of person you would root for. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, the night that he was on Bill Maher's show, Politically Incorrect. And when he was on that show, Bill Maher tried to like ambush him with these questions and all of that. And he dealt, with it, like talking about he had, said murder this many times and all of this in his album. They actually counted how many times he said like something negative. He dealt with it beautiful. So when he got back from the studio, I'll never forget, he had a jersey, like a baseball jersey on, black Air Force Ones. He was a fly nigga. Gave him a pound like, yo, son, you know what I mean? He represented. Everybody was happy because while we was watching the show, like, like I guess live, and then after that he came straight to the studio. But the one thing that stood out was two things. Was Shyne and Puff was never in the studio at the same time. So it was Harv Pierre, the number 2 guy at Bad Boy, who would work the Shyne project. And so, I would hear, overhear conversations, so it was clear that, they were on 2 different missions. Now, Puff wanted Shyne to record a whole bunch of music so that he was fronting like, yo, we need 50 songs so we could pick the best songs to make your album. But Shyne didn't want to do that because he knew that Puff was going to record a whole bunch of stuff and then release it while he locked up, you know what I mean, and cash in on that whole situation. So he didn't want to record. He's like, nah, you got enough. You know what I mean? So I remember hearing these conversations, But I never seen them in the room together, But I never forget that there was a situation. I mean, not a situation, but a scene. I remember sitting on the couch in I think it was Studio B, but it's at the studio at Puff got 2 top-notch studios, 2 rooms, one with the SSL and one with the Neve. So the room with the Neve, we were in that room, and like this was before making the band and all of that. And I always used to tell cats, I was like, yo man, I used to sit back and just watch. And I was like, I used to tell cats, they may be sitting next door to me and they were like, yo, what you up to, G? And I'd be like, yo man, I'm just watching TV. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like watching a show. I would just be watching cats. You know what I mean? And it was like so much BS. You know what I mean? So many phony cats. You know what I mean? And ass kissing cats. Trying to get close to Puff, and Puff is the god in them walls. You know what I mean? The god. And like I said, he's very smart, very talented. You know what I mean? And got good instincts. But you can tell, he a cornball though, you know what I mean? And hip hop wasn't born on cornballs, you know what I mean? Hip hop was born on revolution, and it was like, I'm a prime example of hip hop, you know what I mean? Cats like me, rebellious cats, you know what I mean, who do it on our terms, the ones that the teachers hate. We on first name basis with the principal and the vice principal. Teachers know who we are when we coming in class the first day of school and having conversations with us. I'll never forget in 7th grade, Mr. Lombardo. Me and him had great rapport. He was the woodshop teacher. He came to me and was like, yo, George, what's this I hear about you? The teacher's always talking about you in the teacher's lounge. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't see it. but what's going on? Like, he couldn't figure it out. Like, yo, them teachers, like, yo, they would be talking about me in the conference room. That's hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are the cats who do things different. You know, the establishment hate us. We're the biggest threat to the establishment. So that's what hip-hop was built on. Hip-hop wouldn't exist without the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'll just, put that out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Hip-hop was the voice of the unheard. Hip-hop had nothing to do with a trap house, running drills, or anything like that. It was intellectual. We had artists like Public Enemy, Jungle Brothers. I mean, the list goes on. And I mean, from the early inception of the message, so what happened is we were the voice of the unseen, unheard. Like when you go to the news and you turn on the news and they're interviewing a black person, it wasn't somebody like me. It wasn't someone like KRS. It wasn't somebody like, like the cats who the first generation of hip hop cats. You know what I mean? Because they were gang leaders. Black Spades. Hip hop started with the Black Spades in Bronxdale. As far as bringing it to the forefront. Like I said earlier, Afro Bambaataa was at least a third generation, but if I'm not mistaken, he's the 10th generation in the Baby Spade. So like I said, the first generation guys came out the mosque, what they call the temple then of Nation of Islam. And so the first division cats talk about how hip hop was inspired through the Black Panther movement, the Nation of Islam. So that's what I'm going to run the video with today, is the Black Spades, expounding on what I just laid. In the next episode, I'm going to take it further and expound on it further. Alright? Let me check my okay. Yeah, I think I covered everything. Some things I can pick up on the next episode. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. Love, peace, and happiness.
It wasn't just being about black. It's about protecting the neighborhood. It wasn't a gang, and it turned into a gang.
Turned into a gang.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, first of all, the media started calling us gang, and that's what happened.
When did it turn into a gang?
When the media said it was.
The media said
like
it wasn't a gang.
When we designed it, it never was designed to be no gang.
We was like a social club. The black guys is a gang, and the white guys is a social club.
Oh yeah.
Right.
We got motorcycle. We're a motorcycle gang, and they a motorcycle club. Different.
Big difference. Anytime a black man standing for himself, the titles become way different. That can go into any white man's neighborhood, and they can come outside and they can patrol their neighborhood. They become neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
We become thugs when we do it.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me.
To the neighborhood.
We become thugs just for protecting ourselves and our rights.
Right.
And that's the whole thing about that. Remember, before all that, Bobby Seale, Huey Newton, them started protecting and guarding their own family and friends. And we just try to base our thing behind that philosophy and Malcolm and Elijah, Nation of Islam. So, each one teach one and each one protect one. And so, you used to go out in the community, you used to always get beat up. Or running home because your life is in danger, because you just want liberty, freedom like everybody else, but you couldn't do that.
City.